I'm Nicky Boninfante, and you're watching Storytellers at CompetitionPlusTV. Actually, I was working for Bob Gilbertson then, and you know, we used to have a lot of pretty good times, and Bob's a fun guy to hang out with. Kind of reminds me of an old drag racer from the 70s, really. And Tommy Delago, me, and Bob were all working together. We had a young group of guys, and they were pretty active, you know. So basically, you know, we were testing in Vegas, and it was like, you know, went out and made our first test run. Everybody was pretty happy, and we were set up to go out and make a couple more runs the next day. So, you know, Bob and I had a few Crown Royals, and we were taking it easy, talking about how good we were going to run the next day. And, you know, next thing I know, it's like Bob wants to leave, go back to the hotel and grab a bite to eat. So him and I jump in the rental car. Berserko Bob, the famous Berserko Bob, he jumps in the back seat, and you know, we're getting ready to leave, and I look over and I see this scooter sitting there that these guys were riding. Bob had bought it for them, little tiny scooter. You know, the guys were all doing wheelies on it, driving crazy around the pits. And you know, I said to him, I said, hey, somebody's going to get killed on that thing. And Tommy D and I we were actually talking about it the whole day, you know. So Bob says, he gets kind of pissed, and he goes, I don't give a shit about that thing. He goes, I'll run it over with the rental car. So I look at Tommy, I go, hey Tommy, we're going to run that scooter over. So so Tommy gets it, he pushes it out in front of the rental car, and as quick as that thing gets laid on its side, Bob hits the gas, drives over top of the brand new mini bike or scooter, whatever the hell it was, and we stop as it's underneath the car, and all of a sudden the car, you know, the mini bike catches on fire. I'm sitting in the passenger seat, so the fire's blazing up, the window's open. I try to put the window up, I can't get it up because it's locked down, and I look over at Bob and I go, dude, we got to get out. And he just takes off. You know, he takes off, and he's, you know, driving down through the pit area. I don't know how fast he was going, but he was going pretty fast. Starts doing donuts. He calls them Brodies, and he's over there. I look over, and Bob's smiling at me, and I'm going, roll the window up, you're f***ing crazy, you know. And he's just looking at me, and he's there. I'm trying to get it out from under the car. It's stuck under the car. Well, meanwhile, there's a trail of fire under the rental car, and the gas is running out, so the pits are on fire. And we're driving through the pit area. People are chasing after the rental car, and finally I had enough because the fire was coming in through the windows, and I just basically jumped out of the car. I opened the door up, jumped out through the fire, and, you know, just landed, got kind of hurt up, beat up a little, busted up my elbow and my shoulder, but so Bob keeps going. He's driving down through there, and I roll over, and it's pretty dark, you know. It's probably 7 o'clock at night in Vegas in the winter, you know, and I look up and I see this rental car blazing, fire coming out of it, out of the wheel wells in the back, and it's you know, I'm thinking, man, this is going to be ugly, you know. So next thing I see is I see this rental car, you know, come to a stop, like an abrupt stop in a cloud of dust down there by the circle track, and I see all these people running with fire extinguishers, and they're yelling, he's crazy, he's nuts, you know. Just all of a sudden this rental car explodes, and I can't really see anything but a big explosion go off, you know. And I mean, it blows up like something you'd see in a movie, you know, like a stunt. And big fireball, and and I hear people go, they're running down still, and I hear more people going, "Oh my God, Bob's dead!" You know, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" Right? Like, Bob's dead, and this is Tommy's first day working over here with Bob on. You know, we got a new sponsor, and you know, my career's over. You know, so you know, it didn't. 20 minutes, 15 minutes, our van pulls up, and Kevin's driving it, and I look in the passenger seat, and there's Bob Gilbertson. He's sitting in there smiling at me, and Zerko Bob's in the back seat, and I look at him, he looks at me, and he just goes, and they leave. They just left. So here's me and Tommy, we're sitting there, and we're trying to figure out if we're going to get a job working at the hot dog stand or whatever, you know. And I don't know how long it was, but we start getting calls and texts. Maybe half hour later, people are saying, "Hey, what happened to the rental car?" You know, all this stuff. So it's already on social media, which, you know, back then it was just starting out, and Nitro Mater had it on. Everybody had it. Bobby Bennett put it up there, you know. But so Tommy and I walk across the street to the Petro, and we're in there having a coffee or something, talking about our careers being over, and we get a taxi cab. We go back to the hotel, get a good night's rest, get up the next morning. The plan was we're going to go out there and we're going to go run, you know. So we show up at the track, and there's a note taped on our door, and that says, "Do not unload anything. Do not touch anything in your pit. Come straight to the tower." So Tommy and I and Gilby, we head on up to the tower, and our buddy Chris Blair, he's not too happy with us, and he pretty much tells us there's going to be some repercussions, and we need to load all our stuff up and get off of the property. So we went back to the trailer, loaded up, and we headed on over to Pomona for our first race of the year. Meanwhile, Graham Light calls Bob, and Bob explained to him that, you know, he was trying to save the pit area because the bike was on fire and we had accidentally run it over. To defend Bob, it was an accident because he didn't mean for it to blow up. But, you know, basically what it amounted to was we weren't allowed to race Pomona unless we paid, I believe it was a $25,000 fine. It may have been more, but I can't really remember. And so Bob was back in Charlotte, and he's talking with Graham, and he gets the money wired, and we're, you know, now we're allowed to run the race. We had to deal with the sponsor. That was pretty fun, trying to explain to them what happened. And then, you know, as time would have it, we had to go back and race in Vegas. So we get a letter from Chris Powell, who's actually a good friend of mine, and we weren't allowed to come run there either race unless we made a sizable donation to one of Bruton's charities, which we did, and we also had to fix the pit area where the asphalt was burned up. So when Bob got done paying for the bills, and then of course he did have the insurance on the rental car, but it still cost him close to $7,000, I believe. When we sat around and we talked about everything, we pretty much saved Bob about $100,000 because we didn't burn up any money testing, and after paying all the fines, it was about $100,000 savings. So, I mean, that's the rental car story.